I think you have your own YouTube channel, right?
Yep.
So we'll share some tips and tricks, and I'll let Josh take it away.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Everybody, welcome to my presentation. We're going to be going over, as Ryan said, the tips and tools of the trade to get started. As he said, for myself, I specialize more in game design in the industry. That's kind of where my channel and my website, Game Wisdom, come from. In 2016 was when I started doing YouTube, kind of as a part element to that. And since then, it has grown to be a major element of.
Yeah, we're just getting started. Come on.
No problem. But in 2016, I started a little bit more serious with doing streaming and video-based content. I started out on Twitch, and we'll be talking about the difference between Twitch and YouTube in a few minutes on this presentation. At the moment, we've just gone over 3,000 subscribers. We actually hit about 3530 as of today, and I'm about 30,000 views away from hitting 1 million lifetime views on my channel. It took a while, and we'll talk about why that is and kind of the kind of content that comes with that. So before we get started, has anyone here started or has already created their own YouTube channel? And we talked about that. He was at my presentation last week. What is your channel about for the people watching?
Mobile apps, Android and iOS, both Android and iPhone.
But when it comes to doing YouTube, whether it's a part-time part of your job or trying to commit to it full-time, it's important to know why you should go down this crazy rabbit hole. And the first thing is that it allows you to express yourself creatively. And people will do everything on YouTube. I've seen cake decorations, toy unboxings, reactions, video game streams, product reviews, you name it. And the beauty about it is as long as you have some kind of recording device, anyone can do it. Obviously, people who go the full professional way, they'll have a much grander setup, which we'll talk about later on in this presentation. But I mean, literally, I have a smartphone right there. I can upload whatever I want to YouTube, and lo and behold, we can do it like that. And of course, probably one of the big reasons of why a lot of people go to YouTube, if you do get big enough, it can become a career, and you can earn some decent money that way. How much money? That depends on a lot of factors that we'll come back to later on. But normally when I give these presentations, I go over like the historical aspects of the topic. But really, for everyone watching this, either sitting here or the recorded version, you don't need to know the history of YouTube or Twitch. All you need to know is that they are big, they have millions upon millions of people watching, and there is a lot of money tied into it. With that said, though, I do want to go over briefly about what it means to do Twitch as opposed to YouTube, because they are two essentially sides of the same coin. And you may find that you prefer Twitch's style as opposed to YouTube. But we will be spending the bulk of this presentation on YouTube, obviously. So being on Twitch or being a streamer, it's about doing things more live than it is recorded. A friend of mine equated to kind of watching a live show on TV. You're not really watching it for cutting-edge production values or all kinds of graphics. You're really there to watch something that's happening right now. With the added benefit is that you can actually talk to the person who's doing it at that same time. People on Twitch earn money through consumers tipping them through Twitch's own currency, which is known as bits, or by getting corporate and marketing advertisers who will let you put like their little logo on your stream, and you'll get paid every so often for it. Currently, the record as of right now for the most amount of money is $500,000 a month by the streamer Ninja, who of course does Fortnite, which I'm sure every kid in this audience most likely knows what Fortnite is. I can see them shaking their heads. But when it comes to being on Twitch compared to YouTube, there are a few unique cons. You are competing with everybody else. Because it is a live broadcast, somebody's not going to be watching 5 live shows at the same time. They're going to tune into whatever specific game or specific thing they want to watch, and they're not going to care about you. And it can become very cutthroat trying to compete at that space. As I just said with Ninja, I'm sure everybody's thinking about wanting to stream and broadcast Fortnite, but chances are nobody else is going to be pulling in that amount of money and viewership. And when it comes to work, it does take a lot. People who make it big on Twitch, they are streaming at minimum 4 to 6 hours a day, usually 6 to 7 days a week. And that is you sitting in front of a camera, watching your game footage, watching your stream, and interacting with those people during that time. It can be very hard. Even when I do my streams, usually an hour to 3 hours, depending on what the topic is, my voice is dying by the end of the day. So I can't imagine doing it 6, 7 days a week. And of course, again, the more every day that goes by, more people are going on to Twitch, and it's the same thing with YouTube. It gets harder to make yourself known. And of course, that is a picture of Ninja down there for anyone who doesn't know. But when it comes to being on YouTube, things are a little bit different. YouTube is more like going to a movie or watching a documentary. You're going to watch something specific. And that means that you don't really care about the live content, you just care about what is the topic and, of course, who's actually doing it. And because of that, it does open up the door for a lot more in terms of variety. I've watched people who speedrun video games, who discuss comic books. I've even watched someone show me how to fix the light in my ceiling thing. It's all available there. For people who are good when it comes to video, audio editing, and even just general art skills like Photoshop and stuff along those lines, you can really stand out that way if you know what you're doing. And I'll have tips and tricks for that stuff later on. A big difference between YouTube and Twitch has to do with the algorithm. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, YouTube has a search algorithm that kind of determines what it shows you based on what you're watching. So if I watch the top 10 best pizza places in New Jersey, I'm going to find more videos either from that person or videos related to pizza or Italian restaurants or stuff like that. It just makes it easier for people to find your content if you're related to something else that's going on. And in terms of money, the highest paid YouTuber in 2017 was a man by Daniel Middleton, who I believe is a Minecraft streamer. And he raised about $16.5 million in 2017. With that said, though, it's not all peaches and cream, I guess, is the old-timey expression for it. It can be hard to determine what people want. I'll be talking about the kinds of content available on YouTube in a few minutes, but it can become very challenging to try and get people to your channel as opposed to the millions upon millions of other people. And it can take a lot in terms of work. Quality-wise, people expect at least some level of professionalism. They expect some level of quality, not just your camera going like this all over the place and screaming into your microphone. If people are going to watch your video, again, think of it like watching a movie or a documentary. They expect to get a good show. And while you won't be doing as much stuff live, unless you want to do some basic live streaming on YouTube, you're going to be spending a lot of time editing content. It's something that has become more and more a part of my daily routine, and it will probably become a part of yours as well. But with regards to that, let's talk about the kinds of content. This is just a brief snapshot of what my YouTube channel looked like when I put this together in August. But when it comes to content on YouTube, we can break it down into 3 broad categories, not including people who either stream themselves playing video games or people who put up like recordings. Like there's a lot of people who will put up like the latest Daily Show or the latest Stephen Colbert scene or whatever. We're not going to be talking about that. We're focusing more on original content. And the first kind is kind of the first responders. This is when people are reporting on whatever is new and whatever is hot right then and there. So, big reveal about Marvel's The Avengers. Comic-Con reveals. There's the New York Comic-Con going on right now, and people are posting as many first impressions as you can throw whatever. I lost my train there. But besides that, we can also talk about drama videos, news videos, unboxings. Does anyone here not know what the term a react video is? Okay. A react video is when someone will basically just sit there and comment on something else. They may watch a TV show or a movie or even just the promo to a movie, and they'll give their thoughts on it. But again, it's all about being the first one. Yep.
I know those kind of videos before.
Yeah. Yeah, the React videos have certainly gotten big. There's a channel, the Fine Brothers, who got very big on React-based videos.
I know that channel.
And big examples of that, which probably more the younger audience would recognize, would be people like Keemstar with his drama alerts, and Philip DeFranco, who posts pretty much daily on major events, news, Hollywood, stuff like that. Now, the advantage of being a first response is that it is the quickest and easiest way to get views. When it comes to YouTube and how they determine what they put up first, it's going to be based on who's the first one to report it and how big they are normally. And this is why for people like DeFranco down there, Keemstar and the like, when they make any announcement or they cover a news piece, they can easily gain several 100,000 views within a course of a few hours of being posted. And of course, the more people who watch your videos, the greater chance they'll subscribe and come back. And of course, it means more advertisers getting people to click and view their ads. So it's more money for you that way. But also, because it is more about the news topic, you're not going to be seeing too much in terms of production quality. There are people who will have their own little broadcasting studio. We'll talk about the horror that goes into that later. But really, you can just sit in your own room and cover whatever is the latest news piece. And as long as you're the first one, you can certainly get a lot of credibility and use that. That is Keemstar in the upper right there. The problem, though, is when you're trying to be the first one to report something, everybody else is doing it as well. And when I look at news pieces for some of the video game and comic book stuff that I follow, I know whenever a news piece goes up that the same 10 people are make the same 10 videos, the same 10 ways, on that same very day. And it becomes a race. And like I said, when it comes to big news pieces, usually in like the first hour or two, you will see relevant videos go up because they need to get those views. If you don't do that, you aren't the first one, it's very easy to lose your viewership because they want to know what's hot. They don't care that you were away and you didn't report on the latest Marvel movie. And while it can be high reviews, again, it's hard to retain subscribers that way. And the third point, a lot of people find first response kind of like the TMZ or tabloid-based content. Because you are just really reporting on whatever is new rather than really trying to put your own spin on it. And speaking of that, the second kind of content is more personality. This is where I tend to focus on, as well as for a lot of people who are trying to make themselves known in the video game and comic book space. The idea is that it's not so much about the topic, but it's more about the person or the group of people who are putting on the show or having their own discussion about it. It is obviously all uniquely developed, so you don't have to worry about stepping on somebody's toes. And down there are some examples that I know from the video game and pop culture side. Angry Video Game Nerd is probably one of the most recognizable names who've done this for, I think, over a decade. Channel Awesome does the Nostalgia Critic, and they have their own other shows as well. Angry Joe, and again, there are a lot of examples. Even stuff like PewDiePie and Markiplier, for people who recognize those names as well. Now, the advantage, of course, is that this is the easiest way to generate fans. Because you are putting on something unique, you're putting yourself out there, and people generally tend to respond well to that. They like it when you are personable, when there's actually a face rather than just hearing voices or putting on a crazy act. Another good point, of course, is that because this is all unique by you, this is a great way to start building up your own portfolio if you want to do additional work, like video editing, audio editing, and even just doing art like that. And find C anywhere, that's fine. And the other big point about being personality driven is that because it's built on the personality or personalities of the people involved, you can't really compete directly with that. There have been lots of people who try to copy Angry Video Game Nerd style over the years, but he is still around, he is still putting out videos on a day-to-day basis, and he's only grown more popular. And people don't like it when they think you are copying somebody else. And again, when you become that big and that recognizable, the fans will warm up to you. I've gotten regulars who visit me on a day-to-day basis, like live streaming, they're always the ones that comment. They really do give you that boost of energy. And making sure that you're not just screaming to the ether somewhere and hoping somebody is watching you. With that said though, it does take a lot of work. When you are putting on something unique, you're spending a lot more time developing that content. When you see like a 10-minute video that Angry Video Game Nerd, Markiplier puts out, or anyone like that, they're spending a lot more than 10 minutes doing that. There are production values that go into it, whether it's cinematography, audio editing, video editing, creating a thumbnail art, you name it. Going back to someone like Angry Video Game Nerd, when he puts on like a 20 to 30 minute long video, he's spending a lot more time in that, making sure it is perfect. Another big point is that you are going to be the focus, and for a lot of people, that can be very scary. Does anyone here want to admit that they're not good doing public speaking? I know, I was the same way about a decade ago, and it just takes a lot of time to do it. But yeah, it is a legitimate issue or legitimate concern for people about being able to stand in front of a crowd and give these discussions. I mean, I started out doing audio casts where no one could see me. I went to do Twitch, and now there are videos of just literally me sitting there talking, going up daily. And so it's a fun roller coaster seeing how that's developed. But again, for a lot of people, it can be hard to be that focus. And if you do decide to put on like a online or a public persona, that can begin to wear on you. I've seen people just kind of break down of having to be on all the time, whether it's doing wacky faces or screaming or just basically being something they aren't. And then of course the third and probably the hardest point is that because it is going to be based on you, there are people who will not warm up to you at all. You will get nasty comments on YouTube. You'll get people saying you suck and stuff I can't repeat in a public library, obviously. And it doesn't matter how great your content is or how original you are if they just don't like your personality. I've had someone once say to me, "You pop too much with your P's and your mic, so I'm not watching you anymore." And there's not much I can do about that. But the third kind of content is kind of like a more interesting niche, is the one-offs. This is content that is aimed at a very specific topic or a very specific need. So this would be stuff like, how do I change the filter in my air conditioner? What is the best tires for my car? It's stuff that you're trying to answer a question or solve a problem, but you're not really going to be watching 15 to 20 different videos on this. And we can also about instructional videos, even music videos are examples of it. And the channel and the person really doesn't matter. This is more about the topic. And because of that, you really don't have to be a focus on this. It could just literally be you doing work around your house, recording it and putting it on YouTube. And there's no real competition because how many people are going to be competing in the how to do yard work category on YouTube? It's just not going to happen. But with that said, it is the worst when it comes to getting views and subs. Because you're dealing with a niche topic, it also means that people aren't actively searching for it. PewDiePie is not going to be making a video tomorrow about his favorite 5 cheeseburgers in San Francisco or anything like that. And because of that, you are really relying on people wanting to find that information. And if you're trying to build a channel of it, you really need to do your diligence in terms of social media to let them know. Like for myself, a lot of my more popular content is about game design topics, like how to add achievements to a video game. What is free-to-play mean for the consumer? And that stuff, if you're interested in it, is great. You're probably going to find my content on YouTube immediately. But how many people are really searching for free-to-play design compared to Markiplier's latest video. Probably a very big difference. And because of that, it makes it very hard for people to discover you. And the term discoverability here is the general way or how easy it is for someone to find you online. It is a big part of websites and just having a social media profile. And there's presentation just on this very one term alone. But with that said, let's get to the fun, or shall I say expensive part of our presentation. And how do you get started when it comes to hardware, software, and just your general setup? So hardware-wise, the more you want out of your channel, the more professional you want to look, you're going to need more hardware. And it's going to get expensive no matter how you swing it. For myself, my computer is at the point where I'm going to be looking at getting parts, and I'm looking at spending at least $2,000 come Black Friday, Cyber Monday to get some more updates in that way. But like I said at the start, you can start small. Even just a smartphone is enough to really get started with your channel. Just, put up a little sign behind you, or just make sure it stays angled, and you can start making videos that way. But again, the more you want to do, the more it's going to get expensive, and especially space-wise. Like I said, many of the bigger YouTubers have their own either small or actual large broadcasting studio where they'll record and they'll edit content like that. But at minimum, if you're going to record something, you're going to need a microphone, be it from a smartphone, a webcam, a headset, you name it. And for the microphone, this is where you really don't want to scrimp on, especially if you are trying to be about yourself or about you putting on a show. These two examples are a broadcaster mic and a condenser mic. And these are kind of the high end of the scale. They usually run, I've seen like the low end, maybe like $180, $200, maybe $300 to $400 for one of these mics, depending upon where you go and what you're looking for. You can use a webcam like I did for like starting out, but it really doesn't work that well because of how it reverberates in the echo. It's going to make your voice sound very distorted. I've been told before I sound like I was in a submarine, or I sound like Alan Alda at one point. So I guess if you want to sound like Alan Alda, you can go that way, but unless you have him on your show, it's not going to really help you. When it comes to cinematography, you are going to need some kind of a camera. And this is more important if you're going to be showing yourself or showing scenes or things along those lines. Does anyone watch like any animated YouTubers or those who use like a online avatar or persona?
Yeah, I watch some animation YouTubers.
Yeah, for them, yep.
I watch like cartoons.
Yeah.
Like the only animations I usually watch are like pandas playing games.
Like Combo Panda.
Combo Panda.
Alright. Yeah, but for those people, they're not actually showing themselves, so they really don't need a camera. But they do a lot more work when it comes to editing the animations and setting up so it actually looks like either the online avatar's talking or just having them do like various poses while they're standing there. But again, when it comes to this, you can go various different ways. Use our webcams down here. You can have a smartphone. You can even get your own digital recorder and record yourself that way. And of course, when it comes to hardware, there's always more. There really is always more when it comes to buying these kinds of things. This is kind of a tablet if you want to try and do drawings, the ubiquitous green screen that allows you to kind of whatever image you want to display behind you. And this down here is mainly for people who want to do video game channels. Do we have anyone in the audience who wants to do like video games or streaming like that? Alright, well then you're probably going to be wanting to look into something like this at some point. This is what's called an HD capture card. And what it essentially allows you to hook the console up to the card and either record or stream footage that way. For people who are just trying to record something through a console, whether it's an older computer console or one that doesn't allow for streaming, you're going to need something like this. This is the Elgato brand, and there are different ones out there. They come in different shapes and sizes based on how powerful it is, what hookups it supports, things along those lines. Now, if you're going to try and stream from a computer, there are all other alternatives that we're going to be talking about in the next minutes. But again, like this is for like people who stream like Super Nintendo games, Genesis, stuff around those lines. Yeah.
What's the minimum cost range on that thing?
That I've seen it run about $200 to $300, depending upon again what you're looking for. Now there are alternatives if you're trying to do things with modern consoles and modern PCs, but this is generally the way for people to stream without needing a computer or the console to do that work for you. And then we turn to software. And software can be its own microcosm of craziness for a lot of people. For every task, everything you ever want to do, there is at least 10 to 15 different software programs out there for you to do it, varying in terms of costs as well as what it will do. The ones I'm going to show you are the ones that I made use of or I've heard people use, but again, just Google it and you will find 20 different examples. The one nice thing about software is this is a great way to expand your own skill sets. And if you want to do things outside of YouTube or like part-time or full-time work, it can be great to learn how to do Photoshop or edit videos or movies and stuff like that. But the first thing is recording and streaming. And like I said, whether you're doing YouTube or Twitch, you're going to need some kind of software that will be able to record this or broadcast it to other people. The one on the left here is OBS, Open Broadcaster Studio. This is the one that I make use of whether I'm recording videos or I'm doing a live stream. XSplit on the right is another popular one. In terms of the differences, I honestly don't know because I spend all my time in OBS. But the big thing is that they're both free. You can download them the second you get home, start messing around with them and setting things up like that. And they both come pre-built with YouTube and Twitch integration. So all you need to do is basically enter your information into the program, hit stream, it will send it to your respective platform. There's a few other ones as well. This is Streamlabs, which looks very similar to OBS. I don't know too much about it. It's just one that came up in a good old Google search. The one on the right here, that is a special case. That is through anyone who has a computer who has a NVIDIA card. The NVIDIA cards come pre-built with your own recording software called Shadowplay. And it basically just lets you record footage without needing anything else. The only cost is that you need to actually have the card in your computer. So if you don't have it, you can't do it. And it's only really meant for game streaming. So if you're trying to record yourself or do anything along those lines, it just won't work for you. Audio editing, another very fun task that I've become very well accustomed to, editing podcasts and a lot of my stuff even for radio around here as well. This is Audacity, and this is kind of the most popular one. It's powerful, and it will do more than what you will probably ever need to for doing audio editing work. And that's a common discussion when it comes to this kind of software. The various screens I'm going to show you in the next few seconds have tons of buttons and features and all manner of stuff like that, and it looks very daunting. I mean, it may be a little hard to see, but there's quite a lot of buttons up here for you to mess around with. But really, you're going to rely on maybe 5 or 6 different things, and that's all you're really going to need. And audio editing is its own unique art. There are people who spend a lot of time with it. For myself, I just clean things up, make sure to get rid of all the ums, uhs, and stuttering that I do, and then I just upload it and we're done. But again, this is a free program. There's additional things you can download on top of it, but this is a good thing to learn if you ever want to do more in terms of just pure audio. This does nothing with video, by the way. If you want to do video, oh, there are a ton of options there. The one is Windows Movie Maker. And this is your workhorse, super basic program. If you have a Windows-based computer, it's on your computer already. You don't need to download it, it's all there. I discovered it just by randomly clicking it. Someone say, oh, you have Movie Maker. I'm like, okay, I'll just use that. But in terms of basics, that's it. You're not going to be doing anything fancy. You won't be doing anything like nonlinear editing, cutting footage up, making professional looking transitions and screen wipes like that. This is just basically, I have 5 movie clips, I want to turn them into one movie. Do it. And that's it. Yep.
So earlier you mentioned OBS project. That was not a video editor?
No, that is a broadcasting and a recorder. This is, the video editing is what you're going to be using all the clips that you've made to put together. So, like for myself, I record myself on OBS, I take those clips for like a basic video, like if I'm just sitting here talking, I'm just gonna put that in Movie Maker, put my own little art that I've already made, and I just encode it or edit it all together. If I want to do something more, then we turn to the big daddy over here. This is Adobe Premiere. This is basically the industry standard. This is top of the market video editing. This is what professionals use, and it's not going to be on the cheap side. What Adobe does is they will take their various software and they'll sell you licenses for each one. And of course, each license is going to cost you money per month. For a Premiere license, I think I'm spending, I want to say $24, $20 around there a month just to use the program. Now, for kids or anyone in like college or school, you can get student discounts on a lot of software, but when you're outside of that, you are paying full price for it. And they don't normally put the stuff on sale. When it comes to Premiere, though, like I said, this is it. If you learn Premiere, you are going to be very ahead of the game for a lot of people who don't. This will allow you to cut videos up, present things out of order, attach fancy graphics, and just really up your game in terms of production values. It can be a little tricky to learn, but I'm just going to say this. If I can figure this out, I'm sure everybody in here can figure it out. And again, while there are tons and tons of buttons and stuff to do, it really comes down to a few specific things you're going to do on a day-to-day basis just to get your video presentable. Of course, if you want to go further than that, there is nothing stopping you. Again, if you want to do anything video editing-wise, this will handle it. And there are other software as well. There are some free ones out there. I think it was a Vizio. Forget the name of the other one. Vizio. It's, I think, by Sony that's a lot cheaper. And again, it really comes down to how much money you want to spend and how much you really need out of it. Because again, Premiere will do stuff that probably most of us will never need it to, but it's there if you want to learn it and you want to try to upgrade it.
Can I put in a plug for Camtasia
Sure.
Studio by TechSmith? They have both for Mac and Windows version. And also for Mac, there's Final Cut Pro, which is very good too. So those are kind of the big three.
Yeah. And again, it really comes down to price and what you want out of it. Again, Movie Maker, if you're just starting out, it's free. As long as you have clips ready to put together, it will do it for you, and that's about it. Now, if you want to do more in terms of creating art, there are, of course, lots of programs like that as well. You have After Effects right here, which is like 3D graphics. Like, if you ever watched other YouTubers or TV where they'll have like fancy graphics show up, they're probably using software like this. This is like for 3D models, probably a bit too much for what anyone would use, but After Effects, again, is another gold standard for that kind of work. And for my last presentation, I forgot to include a slide for it, we have Photoshop. This is for generating thumbnail art, images, if you want to try and put stuff together, and you can do a lot with this. But again, keep in mind, every piece of Adobe product you want to have is going to run you money per month just to have it available. But again, Photoshop, another industry standard. And if you can learn it and you can start doing art with it, it will go a long way. And you're going to see examples of that in the next few minutes. But It's time to talk about what I think a lot of people want to know. How do you make money doing this, whether it's part-time, full-time, or anything else? The first way, and simple, is through donations. If you're doing stuff live, people can donate money to you while you're doing a live stream. You can set up a PayPal account. Does anyone here not know the term PayPal? All right. PayPal, of course, has been a standard now for years. It's safe, secure, and it's as simple these days as just getting a link from them that you put on your YouTube channel. Anybody clicks it, and they can donate, 50 cents to $5 million if they want to you, and then the money comes secure that way. Patreon is kind of a unique thing, and depending upon how much you actually do online, you may never have heard the term. Anyone here not know what Patreon is? I'm sure quite a few. Patreon is something that came up a few years ago as more of a way of people who do creative work or something that's not easily quantified to earn money. This is my own Patreon page. And how it works is it's kind of like a crowdfunding campaign. Well, the difference is that it's ongoing. So it's not like I get $500, I turn off Patreon. This is basically a way for people to support me on a month-to-month basis to allow me to keep doing what I'm doing and even to expand things. So, and I am sure there could be a few classes on how to get people onto Patreon as well. But you can see I get about $110 a month for people who donate. They get little rewards on the right-hand side as well. And as I said, I have a goal right now to get one of those capture cards as well to cover myself. And again, this is just another way that's safe and secure for people to donate money to you if they don't want to go like the route of PayPal or donate directly through YouTube. But I'll get that off here. Now, the other big way of earning money on YouTube, and this is more the serious way, is through a Google AdSense account. What this is if you ever watch a YouTube video and you get ads either before, during, or after, this is why. AdSense works by once you sign up, Google or YouTube will take those ads and place them where you want them on your channel. The more people who view those videos, the more ad revenue you will earn. There's also ads based on clicks. So if someone sees a product they like and they click directly on the ad, you'll earn some money that way. Now, this part is where we get into the big time and kind of serious for the parents and the audience. You need to set things up. Like if you're already under 18, you need to set up for yourself. They're going to ask for a social security number. They're going to be reporting this for tax-related purposes as well. And as we'll talk about in a few minutes, it's not as simple as it was 4 or 5 years ago to get a Google AdSense. But that is where you'll be earning money just purely through YouTube. For myself right now, I earn about usually like $40 to $80 a month simply through people watching my videos on the channel. And again, it's going to be proportional to how many people are watching. Someone like Markiplier or PewDiePie who get 500,000 to 1 million views on a video are earning a lot more money per video that way than someone like me. The third option is a managed partnership. And what that means is you have a third-party company who will supply you with ads, and they'll deal with the legal stuff. They may offer you suggestions or tell you things to do in your videos, but they basically handle all the legal hoopla when it comes to getting ad revenue. The downside is that they will take a cut of anything that you earn. But the idea is they're going to take a cut, but you're going to be earning a lot more per video, so it basically all evens out the wash. But getting a managed partnership, basically they need to seek you out. You're not going to go to someone and say, I have 50 subscribers, give me a managed partnership. They're going to laugh you right off their sites. But with that said, it's time to get to some of the harder stuff. When it comes to YouTube, there is no guaranteed success. And this is a very important point. There are people who have worked themselves to the bone to try and get to a point being sustainable on YouTube, and they have failed. And even if you have good content, it doesn't mean that people are going to flock to your video. And a big part of that has to do with what it means to earn money. As I just talked about, a lot of the money you earn on YouTube comes from ad revenue. But ad ad revenue can be affected by a lot of things. What ads are being shown, which you have no control over. There are different qualities of ads, which YouTube will usually say for the higher up or the bigger earners. So the ads that I get, I may earn like a penny to a dime for like every 100 views or something like that. While people who are higher up will get ads that earn them maybe a few dollars per view. But this is the big thing, and this is one that needs to be drilled into a lot more people. You will never start out making money on YouTube no matter how great your content is, no matter how good you are on social media. And YouTube has actually made that a big part of their vetting process. So here's a brief history lesson. Yep.
Does the viewer have to view the whole advertisement before the YouTuber can earn money?
Yes, they need to actually view the ad for it to count. People who use stuff like ad blockers that will obviously block whatever ads you're viewing, they will not earn you any money. And that has earned a lot of controversy and heated debates online between YouTube creators and their audience. People telling them to turn off their ads and stuff like that. But the big thing that happened last year, there was what was called the adpocalypse for YouTube. I know, it's a very weird term. There's a lot more weird terms on YouTube that we can go into discussion about.
Yep, I heard of that.
Yep. What essentially happened was, like we said, the advertisers will pay YouTube or Google to put their ads on videos and stuff like that, but they have no control over where that appears. So what happened was, starting out with PewDiePie, he put out some very racy, some very, let's just say not so friendly content on YouTube that big name advertisers and companies were seeing their ads on, and they didn't like it that much. And a lot of the big companies started to pull off of YouTube. But when they pulled their ads off of YouTube, all that money goes as well. And YouTube got very scared. And they realized that they needed to do something to vet people and make sure that ads would be going on content that was more PC, more friendly towards advertisers. And they didn't want people to be earning money for stuff like alt-right discussions and, again, very political or highly charged content like that. So, as of 2018, they've changed things. Before, you could literally start earning money on YouTube from day one. I started my own Google AdSense, and it started to earn me like pennies a month from day one. You can't do that anymore. From now on, before you can even get a partnership, you must have at least 4,000 hours. That means people have watched 4,000 hours of your content in the last year, and you must have at least 1,000 subscribers. And this is a very big deal. It's kind of what is the first step that separates you from the people who are just trying. It took me a good year and a half, and a lot of it was me messing up, which I'll talk about in a few minutes, to get my first 1,000 subscribers. Depending upon your content, you could earn it within months, you could earn it within years or even a decade. There are people who've been doing this for like 6-7 years, and they have maybe 200 subscribers. And not only that, but they also want to make sure that your content is friendly. They have new algorithms now to make sure that their ads aren't going on something that's people screaming about religion or politics and stuff along those lines. For most of you, probably that doesn't concern you, but the fact that you can't just immediately make money is a very big part of that. So it's kind of like you're going to be working almost 5 or 6 hours a day and earning no money at all, and hoping that you'll get to that point eventually. And that has turned off a lot of people and made a lot of the bigger YouTubers very nervous about their channels. And that goes again into this idea of no guaranteed success. There are people with at least 100,000 to 500,000 subscribers who are very nervous about what it means to do this full time. And again, for the people who do make the money, they are putting in 6-8 hours a day, making this kind of content, making sure it's viewable, it's friendly, they do the social media. And for them, that's it. If they don't have a part-time job, they're not doing anything else. So if YouTube decides one day that they don't like their content or they're not giving them the ads, they got nothing. Like for myself, I'm kind of in between. I guess I could say I'm a part-time YouTuber at this point because I do a lot of stuff on my own site. I do these presentations here. I have a book coming out next month on game design as well. So I have a little bit more eggs in my basket compared to somebody else. But YouTube does control your content. They will, if they don't like what you're doing or you do anything that it violates their rules, they can cut your channel, they can kill it, within seconds. Now, that is for people who go the extreme route, such as telling people to click on ads, trying to make their videos to mislead or do something very political or, again, something that's not PC friendly. But they do have things such as community strikes, where if you violate their rules, they're going to give you a strike. If you get 3 strikes within, I think it's 3 to 6 months, your channel's dead. They will pull it off, all your videos are gone, any ad revenue you made, it goes back to them, and they will do that if they see that you're doing anything wrong on that front. And trust me, it has hit a lot of big name YouTubers and ones who have done things maybe a little bit underhanded. But that's a story for another day. But that was kind of the nasty, the scary part of this presentation. Let's uplift things because it's time for some tips for how to make your channel popular and how to approach things from a content and social media point of view. So the first thing is thumbnails. This goes back to what I was saying a few minutes ago regarding Photoshop and being able to create something that draws people to view your content. This is, again, like a little snapshot of my channel back in August. And we're going to be kind of going over my history. But when it comes to creating a thumbnail, it comes down to 3 things. The branding, that is, who it is that's making the content, whether it is your logo, yourself on the thumbnail, your own little online avatar you created. You have the clarity, which is what am I looking at? Can I actually understand what this image is? And you're going to be seeing some of my follies with that in the next few seconds. And then finally, what the topic. Can you explain to someone just through this image what it is they're about to watch? Such as if I show a picture of a wedding cake and you click on that and it's top 5 death metal albums of all time, people are going to be a little bit annoyed with you on that. But it's time for a brief history lesson, courtesy of my channel. We're going to be looking at how I kind of evolved my thumbnail art over the last 2 years. So this is, I guess, version 1.0. This is a video series I do discussing game design topics. So from a branding standpoint, it's pretty on. You have my name right here. You have my logo, the treasure chest. You know who's making this video. From a topic standpoint, it's pretty simple. You have what this is, Ludo Distance Switch. That's a game design term that's way too big for this discussion right now. But from a clarity standpoint, it doesn't really do much. I mean, you look at this and does anything actually speak to you in terms of what this topic is? Nothing. Not only that, but it's so plain that if you look on my channel for year 1, you would see like 50 thumbnails all with this exact style. Your eyes will start to go back into your head in terms of looking at this. There's just nothing here that draws your eye to it. Now, if you were searching for this topic, and that's how I got a lot of my fans to begin with, they die right away. Someone's searching for ludonarrative dissonance in video games, it's perfect. But again, how many people are going to click on this just by viewing it? Not as many. So that's why I decided to change things. And with help from my friend who does a lot of the art for me, we move things forward. So again, from a branding standpoint, it's all. You have my lovely little banner here, the name of the series, my channel. But I think this is actually worse from a clarity and topic standpoint. Again, from a topic, even I'm not sure what I'm talking about in this video, and I made this about a year and a half ago. And again, from clarity, there's nothing here that's drawing your eye to this image. And again, you see 30 or so videos all with the same thumbnail, it's just going to bore you to death. So I think I actually took a step back that way. So then we move a little bit further. Now we actually have a game image. And again, branding's on point. The topic is a little bit better, but the clarity is still bad. And if you haven't figured it out, the reason why is that it's very hard to see this text overlaid on top of this image. And it also looks, I think, worse production-wise, because you can see how the image is being cut there. So it just looks like I just stamped something on this image, and that was all the work I did. And for a lot of the images that use a lot of colors or contrasting visuals, again, it all begins to hurt your eyes. Like imagine this was like a green or purple video game with this yellow text. It all starts to really aggravate you. And again, most people aren't going to click on this. So now we move on to kind of like my current style. And again, we go down the list. From a branding standpoint, we just have my logo down here. We have the name of the series right there. But in terms of the topic, it's a lot easier to read. How to design puzzles. Very simple. If you're looking for a puzzle design or adventure games, we have it. We have an image that's relevant to the topic. This is from a popular game called Braid. And again, everything is uniform. We have the title over here. We have the line right there. And again, this was made in Photoshop. So if I can do something like this, I'm sure everyone here can probably do something much better than mine. And probably by the time I run this presentation again in a few weeks, I may even just change this image to one of my more current pieces. And I'm sure there'll probably be a version 4.0 and 5.0 in the coming months. But another big point about YouTube has to do with the video length and what it means to actually broadcast or record something and how long you should make it. And for that, we're going to turn to a video that I made specifically for these presentations. And hopefully there's actual sound. Let's see. For today's video, this is going to be a special one. It's not going to be video game related. Also gives me a chance to drink some water. But this is one that I'm recording as kind of a guide to getting into YouTube for the first time. It's going to be used in a presentation by YouTuber, who is probably showing it right now to a group. But if you're watching this on YouTube right now, let me cover more of my thoughts or tips for getting started. Let me know in the comments below. But for this video, I want to talk about one of the more basic aspects about doing YouTube, and that's being able to understand the importance of time. What that means is, when it comes to a video on YouTube versus a live stream or a recorded stream, every second counts. If a video is 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or however long you want, those minutes should be off 100% of the time. One of the things that I see from a lot of first-time YouTubers and people who are kind of trying to get into things is that they will ramble on. They'll be going up, well, this is up. Yeah, and I'm going to be, or they're going to be splitting up their video into multiple different thoughts. Sometimes this may just have to do with advertising, such as maybe 2 or 3 minutes in the video, they may say, oh, by the way, if you want to buy a shirt or subscribe to my Patreon or something like that, then you can go here. Or they may even just try rambling on about something else that leads into the main topic. Whatever the case may be, one of the first and most important steps about being on YouTube is you have to respect your audience's time. Well, that's a minute ago. If I want to make a 5-minute video or a 50-minute video, it doesn't matter as long as I am on for that time. As anyone who does recordings or does stuff live know, it gets harder and harder to keep yourself focused the longer your videos are. This is why a lot of YouTube's most popular and most sought after videos are between 5 to 10 minutes at length, because you can really condense things down into that period of time. Now, if your video does take longer than that, let's say it takes 15 or 20 minutes, there's nothing inherently wrong with that unless you are rambling or there's a lot of fat in that video. And one of the most important things I've learned, especially with doing more 9 non-linear editing is that it is easier to basically trim that stuff out than try and make it work. If I'm going to ramble on for 3 to 4 minutes about something while I wait for the game to load or for a topic to present itself, let me just cut that. It's fine if you're doing things live when people are expecting things to be uncut and edited. But if I'm going to present a video on YouTube to people like yourself watching this, or to the presentation audience who's watching this right now, then I want this to be as concise as possible. Right now, this video is about 3 minutes long. That's all I'm going to say for this topic because there's something else too. So thanks for watching. This next part is for future Josh. So Josh, I hope you remember to bring your business cards and make sure your phone is charged for this presentation. I hope people are actually awake and enjoying it right now. Now for the YouTube people watching. Well, I'll stop it right here. Now, here's something that came up very interesting from them. That's a lovely screen to freeze on too. That is perfect. What?
I said that's just the next
Yeah.
thumbnail.
Exactly. But I want to ask everyone this. That was about 3 minutes long. Does anyone here, and you don't have to hurt my feelings on this, felt that that lasted longer than 3 minutes? Yeah. And that's what they said at the last time I did this presentation. Now, that was 3 minutes of me being as concise as I could be. Unless I wanted to speed myself up to like Alvin the Chipmunk levels of a screechy voice, I couldn't say that any quicker if I wanted to. But that's kind of the point there. That was 3 minutes of being focused. Now imagine if I made that like a 15, 20-minute long video with little breaks in between there or me just rambling on about a topic. How many people would actually sit there and watch a 15-minute video like that? Probably not too many. And that was one of the big changes I did to my video game videos. I do spotlights on various games, and previously I would record a 40 to 50-minute long look at that game, and that was it. And that would include everything from like loading screens to the game trying to do something. When I switched to Adobe Premiere and did more in terms of non-linear editing, I cut that down to about 8 to 9 minutes as opposed to 40 to 50 long minutes. And again, those 9 to 10 minutes are focused. They are on point. If I'm talking about something, the image that's showing is relevant, I get what I have to say, and then I'm done. I don't spend extra time. There's no loading screens. There's nothing. And again, that's the important thing about making something on YouTube. You have to be focused like that. And you'll see this from a lot of big YouTubers when they're cutting a video. You'll see them talk and then it'll kind of cut to another animation. So maybe they're looking like this, then they're over here, then they're over here. And that's them basically cutting out all like the ums or any false starts or any bloopers and stuff along those lines. They want, however long that video is, to be perfect for that specific topic. But we're going to be coming to the end in the next few minutes, and we just have a few more points. So one of the more important things about doing YouTube, whether it's part-time or full-time, is you have to be active. If you want YouTube to recognize your channel, recognize your videos, they need consistent content coming out. And for most people, they can do like 1 video a day. I've seen some people, those who do like reaction videos or the first response, they may put out 3 to 5 videos on a day-to-day basis. A big point, and this is a useful tip that a lot of people ask me about, is you want to try and plan ahead with your videos. You don't want to be making videos on the same day that you're putting them up, because then you're always going to be kind of chasing, trying to get work done, and still get this actual content out. And trust me, it is a huge load off of your mind and energy to know that if I do something like, well, actually for today, I have videos ready for tomorrow that I don't have to worry about doing any editing on. I don't need to wake up tomorrow and rush to get it up on YouTube. I'm going to get it uploaded tonight, set a premiere at noon tomorrow, and I'm done. That's it. I don't need to worry about anything else. And it also helps you if you have other things to do. You don't have to worry about if you're sick or you have no topics, what am I going to do for YouTube today? I just made like 2 to 3 videos over the course of the week, and that's it. And again, the more you do, obviously, the more you're going to have to show people. But with that said, though, you don't want to go overboard. Because remember, you have to respect your audience. And for people who subscribe to you and they get notified when you put up a new video, they're going to be receiving a email every time you put something up. And there are people who put like 10 to 15 videos up a day, which means those people who subscribe to them are getting 10 to 15 different emails saying, hey, he just put out a new video. Oh, he just put out another video. Do you know he just had another video out? And that can get annoying fast. And a few people, at my height, I was putting out 6 to 7 different gameplay videos a day, cut up into like 20 to 30-minute chunks, and people are starting to get annoyed that way. So I've cut things back down, and again, it's just about respecting your audience.
How many are you doing per day now?
I will put usually 1 to 3 up. Usually a recorded like design topic, a game spotlight, and sometimes I may do like something special. Like I have a live show I do Sunday afternoon about game design, but I may take those videos, I'm gonna put them up as well, cut into various chunks along those lines. As an example, tomorrow I'm putting up a podcast I did about diversity in the game industry, and that's going to kind of be the major topic that will go around noon. But the final point is you're going to have to make use of social media. For the kids in the audience, this is probably a lot easier than for the adults, but it is something you're going to have to learn if you want to get the word out. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, I'm on Google+, and I'm thinking about getting on Instagram. You were telling me about that last week, and I'm like thinking about whether I want to add another piece of social media. But again, the more ways people know about you, the better your discoverability is. For instance, when I talk about game wisdom, one of the big things that kind of helped and kind of established myself was getting a good SEO, or search engine optimization or optimize. I always get that O in there. Rating. What that means is if you type in Josh Beiser, game wisdom, game-wisdom, whatever, into Google, you will find me as either the first or second listing. And that took a lot in terms of building an online presence. You'll also probably find my Twitter page. You'll find my Facebook. You'll find articles I post on major game sites. The important thing is that people who want to find stuff about me, they can find it very easy. And when you get big enough, they'll find you even if they're looking at something else. That goes back to YouTube search algorithms. Now, if someone types in game design videos on YouTube, chances are they're going to find me, as opposed to back then, if they type game design, there would have been nothing for people to find. But again, it takes time and it takes you being good on social media to do that. And that takes us again briefly to the search algorithm that YouTube constantly keeps updating and refining it. And if you do a good job of making your videos, I guess, quote unquote, YouTube friendly, YouTube will do what it can to try and match your content to people who are looking for it. And what's very important about that is you understand the 4 areas that YouTube looks at when it comes to matching content through its algorithms. So the first thing is the title. What are you talking about? You'll see this is why a lot of titles on YouTube are like very, I'm not sure what the term I would use, like they seem like very marketed, like 10 essential ways to clean your PC, consumer guide. That would be the title for a video, because that is what YouTube will then say, we need someone searching for cleaning their computer. Well, here's 10 essential tips. I'm going to give that video. The thumbnail. YouTube's going to look at whatever is in your thumbnail to determine what it is you're talking about. The tags. This is something that's more unique to YouTube than anything else. Whenever you make a video on YouTube, and I can't show it without actually logging onto my channel, you can type in various tags or search entries that you expect people to type if they're searching for that topic. So this is another way YouTube will pull people to your content. So, for instance, if I put up a video game spotlight and I'm typing in those tags, I'm going to type in stuff like the name of the game, how to beat so-and-so, walkthrough of the same game, tips and tricks for this game. Basically, anything I can think of that says, hey, someone's going to search for this if they're looking up that game. And then that way, if my video is relevant to it, it will pull that up. And then the description, what is it, where are you typing in as to what this video is going to be? If you have a title, chances are that title's gonna be in the description as well. Again, anything you can do to make YouTube job easier is gonna make it easier for people to find your content going forward. And the more you do and the bigger your footprint gets on YouTube, the easier it's gonna become overall. For instance, there's a reason why if you type anything that PewDiePie has ever done, even if you don't search for PewDiePie, it will pop up as one of his videos, as one of the first or second choices, because he is that recognized. He is, again, one of the most recognizable names on YouTube. So whatever he does, he gets kind of first billing on that front. But there's two last points I want to discuss on YouTube, and then we'll wrap things up, or if there's any time, I'll take questions from you guys. But first thing is anonymity. This is a big point. This is especially probably more for parents watching this than the kids. But being on YouTube or being on Twitch, it means that everything that you do online-wise is now going to be open for people to watch and search for online. It means that whatever you post, somebody's going to be able to view it and comment on it or know that about it. And that can be scary for people. It can lead to also stress as well if you decide to post, some gut-wrenching story about yourself online and you have people in the comments section making fun of you or worse about it. If you're a parent or you have someone underage that wants to do YouTube, you definitely want to pay attention to who's following them, what kind of comments. There are parental features that turn off, nasty comments or block them, but generally just want to pay attention to what people are saying and who's watching this kind of stuff. And another big point is that you are either ready for this or you're not. But once you make that jump, that's basically it. You can't really go back once you've made yourself known online. Because again, the internet remembers. It's the common tag for anyone who's ever gotten into trouble that way. But like for myself, I started doing stuff online in 2012 with Game Wisdom. I was already an adult at that point, so I knew how to handle myself, I knew how to behave, and I made sure everybody knew who I am or knew who I was at that point. So I posted my real name. I have images of myself on various websites that I visited. I want people to associate myself with my brand. If you're a 6 or 7-year-old doing this, that's a different story. And again, you need to be aware whether you want to let people know about yourself along those lines. Some people will not have themselves on like any videos. They'll again use online avatars, or they may just be talking and the camera will never show them. And again, it all depends on what you're doing and again, how comfortable you are with showing yourself, in this kind of online status. And that takes me to the final point then, and that is the idea of the burnout. This is kind of a term that's being thrown around a lot more in the last few months on YouTube. But the idea of you doing this on a day-to-day basis, it does become a never-ending job. And for a lot of people, it becomes a never-ending thankless job. You can spend weeks or months making the perfect video or the perfect presentation, and maybe 20 people will watch. And all that time, all that energy can take its toll. And for a lot of people, it does become stressful to do this. Down there is the YouTuber Jacksepticeye. He's another big name video game YouTuber. He's made videos about this. I think everyone who's big name on YouTube has probably made a video describing about burnout or just feeling that energy drain about doing this. Like I said, I've had somewhat of an advantage by the fact that I'm doing this more part-time. So I know I'm not relying on making videos as my full-time job. I do the part-time work here, I do temporary work, I have my book, I have other avenues to earn money. That if YouTube decides tomorrow to stop giving ad revenue, it's not going to kill me like someone who has spent the last 8 to 10 years of their lives building up their own platform and their own audience on this channel. And again, the more you do, it gets harder and harder. There are people, again, who put on this online persona of them doing wacky stuff or they're wearing costumes. And it takes a lot more mental energy to kind of act rather than just being yourself. And Again, it really comes back to what you want to do on the channel and what you want out of being on YouTube. And kind of like the last point, it comes back to that work-life balance. Something kids probably don't need to think about all that often today, but for us adults or a little bit older than them, probably think about on a day-to-day basis. But again, the more you can do to kind of prepare and plan stuff out, it's going to make things easier for you because you want to make it as easy as possible if you want to do YouTube full-time or even part-time. If you are stressing out or you're rushing to make 10 videos a day, not only is it going to be seen in your work, but it's going to drive you batty and crazy by the end of it. And the quicker you can get onto a routine that works for you, it's going to make your life a lot easier. Like I said, this is why I try to keep myself to 1 to 3 videos a day instead of rushing to make 6 to 10. Because I know I can make 1 video. I can even take when I do my nightly streams and just make that the video of the day if I'm not feeling it. But I'm not feeling rushed or feeling anxious because I'm not putting up 5 videos a day like that. But with that said, I think we kind of went over time, but does anyone have any questions regarding YouTube or anything they would like to know?
What if you do an educational channel, like teaching a topic?
Yeah.
How about if you teach a lesson out of using a novel? Do you have to worry about any copyright issues?
It depends on what are you going to show. Are you going to be showing like someone else's content or stuff along those lines?
I believe a passage, something like that, something along those lines.
As long as you are not showing like someone else's actual work, like if you use copyrighted music or copyrighted images, that can come back to bite you. Or for instance, if I want to show footage of something, let's say I take footage of a CBS broadcast or something like that, if it's being used by someone else or someone claims it, it can hurt you. And you can either be like a slap on the wrist would be simply getting your content ID, meaning they will take any ad rating. I'll get to your question in a second. Right? They won't take any content or any ad rating. They will just take it automatically. If it's too much, like if you literally just take somebody's TV show and show that as like a 10-minute clip on your channel or your video, they may put a copyright strike on your channel because you're basically violating the rules. You cannot take someone else's work like that. Now, if you just want to show like a book or just how they have a quote, that's not as bad. But again, like music, images, video, that's the kind of stuff that will come back to bite if you do go that way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, when you use clips, like when you're reviewing something, you can always just do under fair use.
Yeah.
Like you're asking permission to use the footage. Yeah.
Fair use, for those of you who don't know what that term is, essentially is a way for people to use somebody else's content, but under their own specific use of it. As in, if I'm doing a lesson on cars and I want to show footage of, let's say, an assembly line from 1930, I can claim that as fair use by the fact that this is basically being part of my lesson. I am using it in this specific way that was not the original intent. Video game streamers use or will make use of fair use heavily on that front by the fact that they're using game footage, but they're using it as an example for, let's say, like when I talk about game design topic, or I am talking about something that's going on in there. And fair use is kind of a mixed bag. For some content, it can work, but it also means you have to kind of defend your video if that happens.
In reference to his question, you can always ask the copyright holder
Yes,
permission. Okay,
definitely.
you should get it in writing. And if they give you permission, let's say you want to use 5 minutes of somebody's video, and they say, no, you can't use 5 minutes, but you can use 90 seconds. As
Yes,
long as you get it in writing, then you can go ahead.
yes.
I appreciate that.
For a lot of my very first presentation I put on about the arcade industry, I was taking clips from other YouTubers to show where that game was I was talking about, and I did get in touch with them, and I asked them specifically, can I use this video? And when it comes to it, this is definitely more like the legal loopholes you have to jump through. And again, it depends on what you're trying to do. If you were just filming yourself talking about, I don't know, who's better, Captain Picard or Captain Kirk from Star Trek, and it's just you sitting there talking about it, you're not going to worry about Paramount coming in and, you know, playing that video. If you're going to be showing actual footage from those shows, that's a different story. Or anything that someone else has done about it.
Well, if you show actual footage from a news channel, is that something to be?
Yes, if you're actually using a clip, they may, now some people, it really depends on the content itself or the person who owns it. There are people who don't care about it at all. They will just say, you know, whatever you want, you can use my content, I don't care. There are also companies who may own that content outside of the content creator, such as if, I'll give you an example, I showed footage from a video game it was a Marvel video game, and I got a copyright claim from Sony, because it was a Sony Pictures movie that would copyright. So I didn't get it from Marvel, I got it from Sony. Or LucasArts as well, it was a Star Wars thing. Like, bigger companies will usually care. But, as you were just saying, if it's like a smaller content creator, like someone else who makes a video game, or someone else who does something, as long as you can get their word saying that's okay, that will go a long way. And more importantly, if somebody decides to try and claim it, because there are people and companies who will try and claim everything, even if they don't own it, you can go back to YouTube and say, they don't own it, this person does, and I have it in writing saying that they gave me permission to do it. And then if YouTube gets that information and the company decides not to fight it, then you're in the clear. Anything else? All right. Well, I think we just went a little bit over time, but very last slide. This is just where to find me. Again, social media is very important. So that is my main site where I talk about game design and I talk to game developers about it. This is obviously the YouTube channel that I just showed you. Again, I do more with game design, talks, interviewing people, game spotlights like that. And of course, again, social media, Twitter, and who knows, maybe by the time I run this, maybe I'll have an Instagram and a link down there as well. But that is it. I have business cards on the table. Thank you for coming out, everybody.
Thank you.